Yo, what's up? I'm Dulex. You might know me from my other YouTube channel where I build campers, but on this channel, I'll be deep diving into retro video game collecting and the stories behind those games. Welcome to Memory. Video game collecting was a hobby that I shared with my parents when I was a kid. Back then, a $20 monthly allowance could go a pretty long way at a yard sale or a flea market, so I built a pretty big collection when I was a kid. Right after high school, I joined the military. I just kept a handful of some of my favorite games. I ended up leaving those games at my best friend Frank's house. The idea was that I would be able to start collecting again after I got out of the military, but when I got out, I ended up being on the road on and off for years after that, living in vans and RVs that I was building. But at this point, it's actually been over a decade since I had to get rid of my games, and I purchased a new home, so I was finally able to get my games from Frank and start up my collection again. But here's the problem. Video game collecting is insane right now. The $5 and $10 games that I used to pass up on when I was a kid are now going for $50, $100, or even more. So it's no longer a cheap hobby, but I still like to save money, and I'm not about to spend thousands of dollars on some 20-year-old games. So this time, I'm doing things a little bit differently. Starting today, I'm challenging myself to recollect my entire old collection and make it better without spending any money out of pocket. I'll be doing that by selling games that I don't want and trying to make a profit to buy games that I do want to keep in the collection. For this series, I'm going to be focusing on the PlayStation 2 because when I was growing up, that was my favorite game console, and it has a huge library of really good games. If I find non-PS2 games that I really want, I'm still going to pick those up, but my focus is going to be on the PlayStation 2, and I'll be doing future series later on for the other game consoles that I want to collect for. And it's sad to see that my current collection has less than 10 PS2 games in it, and I really want to play a lot more games, so I need to get started collecting some more. And I think I'm going to start this entire process off with this game right here. This is a Wii game, Michael Jackson, The Experience. I'm going to be primarily selling my games on eBay, and the profit from this sale is going to be the seed money for the rest of the games in the collection. So let's see what we can make out of it. Well, luckily, I didn't need to wait too long because a couple hours after I listed the game, someone sent me an offer. I pretty much always list my games at a little bit cheaper than everyone else is listing it for. And I also turn on the or best offer option so that people have the opportunity to give me an offer and I can choose to accept it or decline it. So someone offered me something that I thought was pretty fair, so I accepted the offer. So now it's time to box up the order and send it out. I'm going to be packaging this in a padded poly mailer. So I'm just going to slide my game in there, cover up all the information. It looks like that. Drop that off. Let me break down the stats after making our first sale. I accepted an offer on the game for $16 and the buyer paid shipping, and then there was some eBay fees taken out. So after selling the game, buying the shipping label, and having the eBay fees taken out, I'm left with $12.07. So what I'm going to do now is head to some thrift stores, and $12.07 is my budget to find some more stuff to try to get my numbers up a little bit more before we try to actually buy some PS2 games. So for the next 3 days, I searched thrift store media shelves before and after work, and I didn't find anything at all until I walked into this place this morning and found this. It's the same game we started this challenge with. You can't make this up, man. I found another copy of Michael Jackson on Wii. What are the odds? So you guys might be wondering how I determine which games I'm going to pick up to sell while I'm out looking. I don't always just look at the value of the item versus what you can get it for at the thrift store or a yard sale or something like that, because you can have an item that you can get for $1 and it's worth $100, but nobody wants to buy that item. When you look up the item, take note of how many active listings there are. So if you actually divide your active listings by the amount of listings sold, that percentage that you get is the sale through rate. The reason why I chose to use Michael Jackson to start this challenge and why it's so cool that we just found another copy of it is that that game actually sells for over a 100% sale through rate. So that basically means that no matter what happens, if I list this game, it's going to sell, which means it's a really good game and people must really like it. It's just not my style, so I'm comfortable with selling it. So now I'm heading home and I'm going to get this game listed and we'll see how long it takes to sell this time. So I didn't end up needing to wait that long because someone bought the game like 2 hours after I listed it. And this time they didn't even send in an offer or anything. They just bought it for what I listed it for. So I actually made more money on it this time. So I ended up selling it for $21.50. But after fees and shipping label and all that stuff, I'm going to be profiting $16.61 on that. So let me go drop that off to the post office real quick. For the next few days, I kept checking thrift stores again just to see what I could find. Eventually, I found a thrift store that had a bunch of PS3 game cases donated to it, but it had random games in each case. Each time when I opened it up, it was something completely different. And one of them ended up being NFL Street 2 on the PS2. What's crazy about this is this game would actually be wanted for my collection, but I already have it and I have it loose as well, just like this. This is probably my favorite sports game of all time. This actually sells for a lot of money on eBay, but don't be like this guy that I found when I was looking up prices who's selling it disc only for $70. That's just insane, man. I also ended up finding another thrift store that had a bunch of retro PC games that were recently donated. Most of these aren't really worth anything nowadays, but I did find a copy of Mirror's Edge on PC, and this is a pretty cool copy because it actually comes with the music CD. Mirror's Edge was one of my favorite games that I played on the PS3. I didn't even know that they had a PC release for it, and I don't have a PC, so I'm just going to be selling this on eBay as untested. I expect it to probably sit for a little bit longer than the other games I was selling, but it's worth a couple dollars, so I'll list it. It's the next day now since I had these two posted for sale, and NFL Street 2 just sold for $21 or $22, so after eBay fees we get 19 something, and now we have $39.89 that we can use to buy games with. So I'm gonna take this and ship it out. So it took like 3 or 4 days, but Mirror's Edge did actually sell for $5.99, which is what I listed it for, so that's good. After shipping and everything, our earnings are $4.87. I know we paid $2 for the game, so we got almost $3 from that. So we now have $44.76 in our game fund. We're getting up in price now to where I can actually probably start buying stuff for the collection if I find it. But for now, I'm just gonna keep checking the thrift stores and see what I can find. So it's been about like a week and a half since I have found anything at a thrift store. But today I found a copy of NHL 10, which it is not a good game to buy to resell, but it is a game, so that was a good sign. And then I also found 2 GameCube games, which if you don't know right now, GameCube games are super hard to find and they've increased in value quite a bit. So I didn't even check to see what they're selling for, but I just picked these up. I've actually played both of these games before, and I'm actually not a fan of either one of these games. They sold me these for $4 each. And I also had a coupon that went with it, so it ended up being $3 each. So if I can sell these, then we might be in good shape to actually buy some PS2 games that I actually want. So let's list them. All right, next day, someone actually just bought Star Wars: The Clone Wars. We had a lot of views on Ninja Turtles, so I expect that to sell soon. But I'm gonna drop this one off right now. So I haven't really had much luck at the thrift stores lately. No matter how much I look, I can't really find anything, and if I do find it, it's only still on the shelf because it was way overpriced to begin with. And then when I do find games that I can sell, there's not a lot of profit margin, so I need to sell a lot of games in order to make a little bit of money so that I can start buying for my collection. And there's really not that much inventory that I can even find. So I've been looking into alternative methods that I can use to source games, and I think I'm just going to check the local thrift stores right near where I live a few times per week instead of spending all of my time on that. My best friend Frank is a fellow game collector, and him and I play in a football league on Saturdays. And he's been telling me that he's been driving around the area where we play football, and he's been seeing a lot of signs for yard sales. So we kind of play in the middle of the day. So we're gonna go out in the morning before the game and check out some of the yard sales, and then we'll go out after if there's more of them and check those out as well. So let's see if we get lucky today. Okay, I've never seen that before. Yeah.
Video games?
Yeah, right. Unopened. We were looking for video games too. I didn't know if you had any.
No,
Yeah.
they're
Thanks.
more doing other things with them than selling them at garage.
Well, obviously we went to a bunch of yard sales that morning and didn't find anything, but we kept at it and went back out to look at a few more after we played our football game and found this. True crime. I would like that. $4.
Oh, expensive.
Oh, there's a PS3 box.
I can't get that to work.
Oh, you can't get the store? Oh,
Make an
okay.
offer, man. I know people repair them, so
Yeah, what do you think is wrong with it? Is it just not turning on, or?
it turns on.
Mhm.
It just doesn't work.
Got the manual in
The
there,
manual's
too.
in the original box.
Yeah. I'd give you $10 for it. Just see if I can get it to work. I don't know.
Do it up. Might be a game in there. So what else?
Thanks, man.
Or porn or something else.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm back from playing my game. I just showered, and I don't know how dirty this system is, so I'm throwing some gloves on. Off the bat, we have an OEM controller. These controllers are pretty dirty. There's like hair on the analog sticks, so definitely got to clean those up. Now keep in mind, I only spent $10 on this, so if there's 2 controllers in here, I can sell the 2 controllers and at least get my money back. Pretty clean. It looks a lot cleaner than the controllers. Inside looks pretty dirty in like the fans right here, but I don't know, it doesn't look terrible. So I guess the first thing I'm gonna do is just plug it into my TV and just see what it does. I mean, he said it turns on, so I guess we'll just turn it on. There might even be a game in here, so let's see what happens if I try to turn it on. A game. NHL. It works. I'm going to use one of my PS3 controllers. I'm scared to find something on here because he said there might be porn on here, so I'm going to grab one of my PS3 games and test it out. Let's see what happens. I'm putting it in there. This goes in fine. Sounds like it's reading it. So let's see. Okay, there's the disc. It works. This system works. This is actually crazy. I can't believe this works. I can't believe I got this for $10. I doubt he was actually playing this PS3 with the AV input that I'm using on my CRT. He probably was trying to play it with the HDMI, and maybe the HDMI port is super dirty and doesn't work. So I'm gonna have to take this into my living room and plug this in with the HDMI and see if the system still works that way. So I tested everything and it all worked, no problem for me. So this is one of those PS3s that has the composite input as well as the HDMI input. So maybe he had it connected to a composite input and then switched it to an HDMI or vice versa, and it wouldn't show on whatever TV that he was using, so he just couldn't figure it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this one up, list it for sale, and then I'm going to keep my eye out for another PS3 that's backwards compatible that I'm going to keep for myself. So it took about 3 days since I listed the PS3, but it finally just sold. That has got to be probably one of the craziest flips I'm probably ever going to make. I actually initially listed it for about $160, and because I got it for so cheap, I was able to just drop the price way down. So someone just bought it for $115. So after buying the shipping label and all of the fees are taken out, we're left with $83.63. That means that after purchasing this for $10, we're going to have a total profit of 73 something, which is kind of a lot. There's significantly more that you can make from selling a console than selling a bunch of games that you got for $2 or $3 and selling them for $10. We're gonna try to look for more consoles, but for now, we're gonna celebrate this win by buying some games for our collection finally. Hopefully we can find them, and I'm gonna throw this in the truck so I can drop this off tomorrow on my way to work.
I just need to drop this off. It's already, paid for and everything.
I recently found out about this large flea market that's pretty close to me that allows random people to just set up tables and sell their stuff. They only do it a few times a month, but they're doing it this week. So I decided to go out there and finally search for the PS2 games that I actually want to keep. In order to keep track of the games I'm actually looking for, I decided to print out these old school Western wanted posters. These posters have my top 50 most wanted PS2 games. Some of these are series that I want to collect multiple games for, so when that happens, I'm going to kind of just give it a vertical mark, and then when I get the entire series, then I'll give it a full cross out. Same thing if I find these games loose or without the manual or box art or something like that, then I'm gonna just give it a vertical if I get the game, but then once I get the complete version, then I'll go ahead and give it a full cross out. And a lot of these are games that I had when I was a kid, but just as many of them are games that I never had that I wish that I played, so I'm gonna play them now as an adult if I can find them. So let's see how many, if any, of these I can find at the flea market today.
How much for the games here?
The games are $5, the DVDs are $1.
What about this one right here?
Which one's that? Is that Crash?
This is Crash, yeah.
Like $2.
$7 for these two? Cartridge is in decent shape too. Excuse me. How much for these here?
I'll do you 25 for the two. There you go. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
You guys have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
Here's a quick tip to get stuff a little bit cheaper at flea markets when you're on a budget like me. And if you can do it with a friend, that's even better. I was there with Frank, and he is collecting GameCube games right now while I'm collecting PS2. So all you have to do to get a deal is put everything together in a stack and ask the seller, hey, are you willing to do a bundle deal on this?
What do you have on these?
And 9.5 times out of 10, that seller wants to move the inventory, so he's going to give you some kind of deal.
About $90.
Kidding, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
So this part was a little bit weird. There was a guy there who had games in one section and DVDs in another section. But when we went to go look at the games, we thought that all of them were way overpriced.
Southwest Max paint for 20.
We just got it for, yeah.
But as we were walking out, we were walking past the DVD section and Frank spotted a copy of The Godfather on PS2 that was in the DVD area. Now, he had listed all of the DVDs for $1. So I went up to him and just said, hey, you said $1 for everything in this box, right?
You said $1 for the DVDs? Yep.
All right. Because I think he mixed it up and he thought it was the Godfather movie, but it was the game. So I got lucky on that one. On the way out, I saw that there was a table that had two PS2 consoles stacked up, and when I asked about them, they said that they both had broken disc drives for some reason. I've been wanting to learn how to repair broken consoles anyway, so I decided to pick those up.
Same problem on both of them?
Yeah, that's why I have.
You do 5 each?
Sure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
This stack is what I was able to come up with on my first ever trip to the flea market during this series. Obviously, some of these games are not PS2 games, but I did say that I was going to be picking up some games if I find them, and they're ones that I want. And I'm still going to be including those non-PS2 games in my budget because I just felt like that would be really unfair to just say, oh, well, these aren't PS2 games, so I'm just going to buy those with my own money separately. No, because if you were doing this at home and this was your actual budget, you would have to make that decision to buy these games as well. Sonic 3 was my favorite game back on the Sega Genesis, and it's actually becoming pretty rare to find these actually in the box. Harry Potter is a PC game that I've been looking for a long time, and Frank just happened to randomly find this on a table with CDs. They made a ton of these games for like the same book or movie tie-in, but they were developed by completely different people and they're just totally different games. So I want to collect as many of these Harry Potter games as possible. And my camera actually died when I picked this up, but this was the last thing I ended up finding at the flea market. And it was a copy of Crash Bandicoot 2 on the PS1. But when I got home, I realized that I already had this game also loose. So now I have 2 loose copies of this. So this is going to end up going in the resale pile. So when I'm looking for games that I actually want to keep, I don't really care how much I get them for. I'm not trying to get the best deal or anything like that. I just want to make sure I'm paying at least market value. The Godfather and Iron Man were both $1 each. Max Payne, Shadow of the Colossus, and Prince of Persia were all $10 each. Lego Star Wars was $5. Both of these 2 Crash games were $2 each. It's actually crazy that I found 2 different Crash games in fake cases that were both $2. And then both of these broken PlayStations were $5 each. So in total, I spent $72 at the flea market, and that should leave us with $49.43 left available to spend for our next video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to follow along and do this at home, or just end up seeing what I pick up at the end of this, then make sure you subscribe so that you can see the entire series. And I'm also going to be doing retrospective type of review videos for a lot of these older games that I'm going to be picking up in these collection videos. So if you're interested in any of that, then make sure you subscribe. Thanks again for watching my first ever gaming video on YouTube, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Later.